renderings from Revit and perspectives from here to get this to Illustrator. So let's talk about how we can get this floor plan in Revit looking more like some of our example inspirations. Um, some things to note on whatever your example inspiration is it consistent in its color palette? Look at the thickness of the walls, the windows, the doors, those types of things. And here's another one. So this one has shadow on the walls. This one has shadow from the building. Um, this one has a pattern in the floor, and it looks like they've kind of put a terrazzo pattern, though, so that might be from Photoshop. But some of this can be purely from Revit. Let me see. Not graphic standards. Let's see. So here's where they've just pochade that wall, similar to how we pochade the schematic plan. Yeah, so I think what I want to talk about in this video is how to achieve, I don't know what some of these are getting to, but how to achieve this kind of graphic, or some of these types of graphics in starting in Revit. And then I think that you know how to take it into Photoshop from there. So if this is my floor plan, I want to turn on the fine detail, the first thing that I do. And some things that I'm going to take from maybe this one is a thicker wall right at the cut. So you can tell right now, if I were to zoom in, that wall isn't reading as thick as it can. And if you can't see the thickness on your wall, you may hit TL on your keyboard, or you can come up here and hit thin line at the top bar. Keep that thick line on so that we can look at the line weights. And so for a presentation floor plan, I'm not going to have any of these tags at the doors. So I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to delete them. I'm not going to have dimensions on my final presentation. Here, you will have room names, but it will be like if the room doesn't fit because the plan is so small, it may be that you do a system where, let me see where somebody is actually doing a good job with this. Pinterest. I say Pinterest so that I can figure out how to spell Pinterest. Architecture student floor plan. Let me get to one of these pretty quickly. What I'm trying to find, here's one, is that we will actually number the rooms, and then over to the side we will call them, one is bedroom, two is living room, etc. So I was kind of looking to see if there was any of that in here, but I'm not seeing it. Just know that that's a typical presentation floor plan for an architecture student, is to kind of list out the rooms to the left as a legend, and then tag them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inside the room. And I wish I could find, let me pause this and I'll see if I can find one. Okay, so here's kind of an example, and this is in a different language, but here's the floor plans here. And they've numbered them to the left. So this is a legend and it relates back. So here's number two, and then whatever number two is labeled. I would argue that they could have probably fit a lot of their naming inside the room because their planes were so big. So you want a good balance. Um, you want to be able to fit, like, it's easier to read if the name of the room is inside the room. But if our floor plan is so small on the board, for example, this is at a 1/4 inch scale, so let's move it to an 1/8 inch scale. And so how big these names get are actually kind of distracting. And we wouldn't have any of the room number or anything like that. So not for the presentation floor plan. We'll just have open office, we'll have lobby, and I'm just changing that family type over here to the left, just to a room tag. And so it may be that you'll be able to fit all of these. You can also right click, select all instances in view and change them. Well, the ones that are um, not just a room tag. So, and then right click, change, select all instances in view, and then select room tag so that you can just quickly um, move them around. So let's delete this. I'm just going to kind of clean this up. Surprisingly, if I hit the spacebar on this enough, it will push it to the second line. So I'm going to do that with this one as well. And I'm just going to hit the spacebar until it moves to the second line. Is that the way that you should do it? Probably not, but works for me. So um, plan room. I actually want to turn off that label in the refrigerator under the family. Do not show the label. This is a break room because this was for construction science floor plan. Storage. And so some of these rooms we can actually start creating acronyms for. So example would be janitor, or custodial. You can even do custodial. Janitor is the quickest one and the shortest one that we would use. I usually just call the restroom that is only the toilet and the sink for public use. I usually just call it a toilet. I don't call it restroom because that's just a long name. Break room is fine, lobby is fine, vestibule, so I call it vest because vestibule is a long word. So this is kind of sort of getting cleaned up. This is all furniture, so to me it's not that big of a deal if text is on top of the furniture, but some people might feel differently, and that's totally fine. Okay, so that's kind of how I would clean this up. I would get rid of all of the dimensions. I would actually, um, I mean, these tags are fine. They're not my favorite tags. Now, is this the way that the Revit is more practical in its tag system? And you can create or download like templates from Revit, Revit graphic template section tag. There's a guy, and I forgot his name. I think it's 30 by 30. 30 by 30 Revit, 30 by 40 Revit template workshop. So it's this design workshop. He has this beautiful template that kind of populates with some colored annotations. And so his graphics end up looking really nice. And I think it's a small cost to download his template. And so you would essentially, when you open a new Revit, you would just kind of you would open it up in his template. But yes, so there is that. And I think I downloaded his stuff one time. But anyway, so I'm going to ignore those for now. And what I want to teach you is how to do the wall graphics like we were looking at here, um, after we have a cleaned up plan. And what I'm going to tell you to do is over in the properties, it says Visibility Graphics underneath the Graphics tab. And you can click this, and this is going to give you those overrides. And we did this with the section in the Revit class, just basically so I could show you that this thing exists. And so let's just come down here to walls at the bottom of the list. It's in alphabetical order. I can actually turn off the walls and it will hide all of the walls. This is a useful tool um, in the profession just as much as it is for a student, because we oftentimes will turn furniture a certain color, all of the things. So when you go to select all of these, you just click the top one, scroll to the bottom, hold shift, and then click one time and then let go of shift. So you should have all of them selected, and I can actually change. There's two ways that I can change them in the line type for color and for thickness. I can change the way that it's projected. So this is not anything that's cut at the 4-foot line, and then anything that is cut, I can change that line separately. So that's why it has two different things here. So I'm going to override, and I'm going to do, I want to keep the pattern of the line. So this would be like the line type, but I do want to change the color of the line. And let's make it like a bold, um, let's make it like a bold blue, a nice bold blue. And I'm going to add it down here. Oh, that's okay. We'll find it and we'll add him down here. And then I'll hit OK. And then I actually want to adjust the weight to like 6. So this is the line weight, so the thickness of the line, and then I'm going to hit apply. And so that's anything that's cut, it has that really thick, heavy line now. Maybe 6 is too much on windows, so I'm going to go to the windows and I'm going to change that weight down to like a 3 or a 4. Let's try 4. Oh, let's see. Let's go 3. Okay, apply. Why is it not changing? That should change the windows. Oh, maybe it's a mullion. Maybe it's considering it a mullion. And so that's the thing that in here you do have to kind of like work your way through a lot of these. So windows, let's see if this hides the window. It doesn't hide the, oh, right. That's because in my model, these are not windows. But yours would have changed. Mine are technically curtain walls. Why? Because that's just where I taught the years before, but that's not correct. So yours should be actual windows, like we did in class. And so you can see that that's changing the scale of that line weight. Now, notice that there's like a pattern inside the wall, and sometimes we do have patterns. Maybe it's a fill. Maybe we want this fill at the wall, and we can come over here, cancel. We can come over here to pattern, which is the pattern in the wall. And I can actually change that pattern to whatever I want. So some of you guys like a diagonal pattern, and maybe we want the same pattern, or maybe we want it to be like a lighter blue. I can hit OK, and I can hit apply. And so then that's going to fill in all of my walls with that pattern. I can do the same thing with furniture and flooring. So let's do furniture. So these are not cut, right? So these would have to be a line or a pattern. In let's do an override on the line. So that would be here. I don't ever like my furniture or any piece that's not cut to be bold. So I would prefer it to be about a 1. So now that has turned, if I could zoom into it, all of those lines now match the blue line. Um, let's see, what else? This is not actually furniture, this is casework. So you would have to change casework different. And a lot of times it's about like if you get out of the visibility graphic and you notice, hey, this line didn't change or this door didn't change or whatever it may be in the visibility graphic, just click it and see where it sits. And so now I need to go and I need to go to the visibility graphic and I need to type in casework and I need to override those lines too. So that's what it's saying. And then I'll hit OK. And now this should have changed. Oh, did I even change it? I don't think I did. Where'd it go? Okay. For some reason it didn't change. So that one didn't change. One other option is to right click it and override it. Now, the reason why I don't do this is because this is per element. The category you could do, but it should already be showing up that way. So if I right click it and I override by view by element, and then I try it again, sometimes this works. Oh wait, projection line, that's what we want. Apply. So then that changed it. So sometimes I do it that way. And then if there's a line showing up here where I don't want it, again, under modify, under view, you can change line work. And I like this invisible line so that I can just customize some of my line work in here. Oops, gotta be careful not to select the whole family. So I could then select all of these cabinets, override and view by element. I just recommend doing most of them by the filter or you're going to, I did surface again. If you don't do it by filter, you're going to have to select every single wall and that's kind of annoying. So I just do it by a filter first and then I get everything that I can and then I come in here and edit what I can't figure out in the model. So VV, V as in Victor, VV twice on your keyboard opens up this visibility graphics. It's a shortcut. So what I can do is I can still select all of these. I can override even my projection line to be here, to be a 1, and then that should be most of these items. So that's the toilet. But notice like the dash line around the sink didn't work. Is it weird? Yes, but I can tell you why. So if I edit my family, I double click that family. So he's not an actual model. So they have drawn him in a model line. So if I go to the floor plan over to the left in this family, I can probably change these. I can override repeat visibility graphics. Well, I guess it's not going to let me do that. There's should be in the floor plan. I'm not seeing the dashed line, but it should pop up with the dashed line unless I just made that separate. Let me look. Oh yeah, that's separate. So I can select him, override by view. Again, just the projection line, make in blue. There we go. Just like that. Oh wait, it's this one. Sorry, I have two things open. Override by element, projection line, blue. Okay, so now those items are blue. The door is the tricky one because the door is actually drawn as a line tool in its family. And so if I double click the door, I'll show you what I mean. Here's the real door. Here's how it looks in the model, but in the floor plan, they actually hide the real door, and these are just all lines. So what we would want to do in Revit is select the door, right click, override and view. Again, just it should be that easy. Well, he's still not changing the panel. So let's see if we can change the panel in here in the family. Edit, only if instance is cut. Okay, that's not what we want. Panel projection. I want to change his color. So let's go manage, maybe additional settings, line patterns, no. Fill patterns, no. View. I'm trying to remember where these lines hide. Annotate. Insert, manage, annotations. You should be able to create new line types. So I'm trying to find where that is sitting in here. Add-ins, modify. Sure. Oh wait, no, that's not what we want. Maybe. Let me just see what that does. Oh, right. It's just not giving us the, oh, duh, I know why, I think. So let's do cut lines and let's do them blue. Let's see if that helps. Yep, that's what it was. So you can select all doors, select all instances, visible in project. You can also hold control on your keyboard and go around and select all the doors and then right click override view by graphic elements. So you'll need to change the projection line and the cut line to blue, and those should work for you. Okay, so that's doors. I feel like you can go through and make those nice and pretty. Now, the flooring in here, notice is concrete showing. That's the graphic for concrete. So there's little triangles and little specks. There are sometimes, like this one has a pattern on it. Sometimes I want the graphic of the concrete and then sometimes I don't. And so it just kind of depends on what graphic you're going for. Let's just pretend like we want the blue concrete. You can do either a right click override by view and come here and change. It looks like I had put the concrete pattern on it on a surface, right? Because it's not cut, so it's just looking down at it. I can put it on this blue, or since we did like a really nice light blue on the wall, we could kind of hit that same blue on the floor. And so now my flooring is a light blue, like the wall hatch is a light blue. Another thing that we could do is we can actually change the text color. So if we go to edit type, well, I guess it's not under edit type, it's under the family. So let's go visibility graphics, annotation categories. So this is anything in the model. And then annotation is things like the room names. So we can type in room tags and override and change them to blue. Apply. Well, that didn't work the way I thought it would. Select all instances and view, right click, override by element, change them blue. Apply. Ta-da! And so now we're slowly kind of getting a nice graphic floor plan set up in Revit. If I wanted to change these walls to a solid color, I could VV on my computer, go down to walls, come over here to the cut patterns, and I can actually change that to a solid fill and hit apply. Just like that. So the more things that we have, sure, save project. The more things that we have, I can just right click override by the element and just hit those colors that I'm looking for. And probably a cut line for the stair. Okay. This is a railing. So it's reading it differently. So I would have to go in and like change the railing. These were just lines that I created um, inside Revit. This is just a regular text because I didn't want to make that a room. Um, Again, I can just right click it and override it. And then under annotate, there's a lot of things that can happen in the floor plan. This is a filled region, and I know I talked about it a little bit in one of the videos, but let's say we wanted, you know, something over here. Um, it draws just like a wall or just like a floor or just like whatever, but then it fills it in. And you can have all these separate boxes. Let me, let me change it to like solid black. Um, and it's actually like coloring inside Revit, basically. So it doesn't exist in 3D, it only exists in 2D. So it only exists in the floor plan, but you can kind of create just like you can with walls. So you're basically just kind of coloring. Oops, that's not what I thought that was. I thought it was this tool. There we go. And where's the end? Let's just here, and then let's finish that corner off. So here is a shape in Revit. And look, when I move them, they all move because they're all connected. So it's kind of like a generic model. So that is filled regions. And I would do filled regions for things like maybe not rugs. I would probably do an actual like either floor that's like a quarter of an inch thick for a rug and then put a pattern in it for a material. Same with like wall pieces. So if I have like wall art in Revit, I would actually make a I would actually make it like a wall or put a decal in it. And if you don't know what a decal is, please just look it up. Decal in Revit. Um, so it's kind of like a sign, and there are plenty of videos out there about how to kind of put this up on surfaces, and they can save you some time. And if you're using like Twinmotion or Inkscape inside Revit, then it will automatically read the decals. If you're using Lumion, it doesn't understand decals. So just a heads up, like you have to be aware of what is going to work in what software. Um, so what they're showing you is that they've actually pulled just generic model families, in place model families, in place model family, in place model family, in place model family. And you can do one of two things. It can be a decal, or you can paint a material that is, this is them kind of probably not painting, but you could paint, you could save a photo out and paint it on a material. So if I saved this, save image as JPEG, let's just put him in the downloads. Pick me. Organize them better than that. No, but you know, pick me is also fun. And so I want to, maybe I want to go into realistic, and it's just going to take a second. Okay. So I'm going to come out here, and I'm going to go to like a split face. This just as a reminder, like if I have one big surface on the wall, this just splits part of the face of the brick. So this can be a different material than the big wall. I can go to manage materials, and I can create a new material down here, create new material, rename, um, photo exterior. I don't know. And then I can change its image to wherever I saved that image at. Pick me. Okay. I'm gonna probably want to change the size of it. Oops. 0. I don't want it to be tiny. So we want it to be like, maybe if I'm looking at this, I'm going to try to guess that's probably like 25 feet. Oh, wait, 25 feet by 10 feet. Okay, done. Okay, and then I'm going to come to modify and I'm going to paint. That's the mural. Where's the photo? Outside. Just like that. And so you can find artwork, you can find things and put them on materials. You can go to insert, where's the decal? There it is. Decal, which is just an image. Um, so I can duplicate art exterior, say okay. Is this how I do it? Edit. Why is it not reading? Oh, wait, that's not what we want. Hold on. Oh, these are the images that I have in here. And I'm going to add the pick me, open, and then we're gonna add this one as our decal. Oops. I don't know why it's not reading. Hold on just a second. Reset. Here. Detail attributes. Oh, here it is. Silly me. There we go. Okay. Okay. And don't lock proportions. So here's the decal. And as you can imagine, if you have like an extruded model around it, you can begin to add artwork and all of those types of things. So that's how in the renderings, there is a mural on the building, there is artwork in the room, there's TV, but it has artwork on it. And I don't think I put anything in here. This is all from Lumion and it looks really bad, to be honest with you, but it's okay. This looks bad. Yeah, so the image, and then if you use Lumion, do not, I repeat, do not put this on your board. You better Photoshop this out. It is not hard to Photoshop out that. And if I see this on your board, um, it is an automatic non-A if I see a logo like this on a board. Okay, that is all I had, but I think that's helpful to kind of give you some understanding of graphics in Revit. These are the same thing. You can override them, turn them blue. But yeah, just make sure your floor plans are looking nice and clean and presentation worthy.